Give it to me like.
Stage next, we got a funny young lady. Give it up for Miss Spamela Rivers.
What's up, Madcaps? Happy Wednesday. I'm Spamela Rivers. Started doing stand-up comedy back in February 2022. I took a little break to figure out if maybe I did want to be a housewife. It sounded, enticing. Sit at home, eat bonbons, watch the soaps. But I wasn't really good at it, so I'm back. Thanks. I'm an independent person. I like to go out and do things on my own, grab a drink, get some eat, whatever. It's alarming how many men will approach me and ask, what man let you out of his sight? Like, oh, I know, right? You'd be so surprised to learn that they let me get an education and drive a vehicle, too. Like, I know it's a way of flirting, but it sends off little Ted Bundy vibes. Like, red flags. Like, maybe he would never let me out of his sight. Or his basement. I have the Girl Scouts to thank for my independence. They taught me I could be anything I wanted to be when I grow up, as long as I was willing to sell my cookies on the street corner. Come to think about it, those drug dealers never even taught me how to bake the cookies. It's no wonder I failed at being a housewife. I've been wondering, is it too soon for a midlife crisis? Like, how do you know when it's the right time? My aunt was telling me she knew exactly when it was the right time for her. It was when her titties dropped. So I didn't know this was a thing. I was like, Auntie, wait, your titties dropped? She said, yes, baby. I remember exactly. I was driving. It was daylight. So what's the time of day have to do with it? She said, I don't know. They were up here, and suddenly they were down there. So now whenever I hit a speed bump or sneeze too hard and it's daylight, I'm like, here it is, midlife crisis time. So I don't have kids, but I have friends with kids. It's a lot like having a friend with a boat. You get all the joys of owning a child with none of the responsibility. Friends with kids are always ready to loan you one of them. Try asking a friend to borrow their boat. Kids are only good for one thing: theme parks. There's all these awesome rides, but you need to be accompanying a child just to ride. You need a whole child just to enter Legoland. Like, what's the deal? Clearly I can ride these rides. Alas, a child is required. And my husband will never let me ask to borrow a stranger's kid. Like, what's the deal? I'm not gonna try to keep it. That might be why they keep saying no. Sometimes I just tuck in behind a family and pretend like I belong. And when they do finally notice and start giving weird looks, I just act like I'm lost or foreign. Like, oh, estoy perdida extrañera. So I don't have a boat yet. Still waiting on the midlife crisis. But I did just buy my first brand new car, so we're getting closer. Woo. Thank you. I've come a long way since my first car. It was the 1985 Plymouth Grand Fury. For those of you who don't know what that is, congratulations. Because it was a tank on wheels, and mine came held together by rust and pot resin. Instead of a key, I got a screwdriver. Whenever I took it to the mechanic, which was a lot, they'd always ask if I stole it. Like, yeah, I'm out here stealing cars, and this is the one I picked. It did this really cool thing where to get it to go in reverse, you had to put it in gear and just give it a little push. So when I tell you I got most of my exercise in college chasing that car around the parking lot before it hit a car with actual value, come to think about it, it was a lot like driving a boat. So yeah, I did go to college. I got a bachelor's degree in engineering. Thank you. It's clearly working out. My husband was so supportive all through college, he would say I was his retirement fund. I used to think he was joking. until I told him I was going to do stand-up comedy. Now I'm not so sure. Well, you might be asking yourself, Pamela, you have a degree in engineering. Why aren't you an engineer? Well, that's a great question, and I'll tell you why. Because the Girl Scouts are liars. They told me I could be anything I wanted to be, but I can't even bake or be a man. Well, that's not true. In this day and age, with the right support, I think I could learn to bake. I wish we could treat relationships like we do employment. We could request an application, a resume, and some references. I'd like to hear from your last 3 exes. Background checks. How many lives would that save? The 90-day review would be like, we're gonna need to see some improvement in the romance department. And you reserve the right to terminate their contract without reason or warning. It's a right to date state. Thanks guys, I'm Spamela Rivers, and you've been